Alright, we're going to review sections 7.1 and 7.2. It's all about exponents. This first one, which of the following is a monomial? So mono means 1. So it can only have one term. Now terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So because of this addition here on part B, we know that that is not a monomial. There's actually two terms there, so it's a binomial. So that one is not a monomial. Other things that will make it not a monomial, if there's a variable in the denominator. So that variable in the denominator makes it not a monomial. If it has a negative exponent, it makes it not a monomial. Monomials have one term. They can have numbers, variables, and multiplication between numbers and variables. So when you have a variable times itself, you'll end up seeing exponents. So it can have numbers or coefficients, variables, and exponents. So choice C is a monomial. When you multiply with the same base, you add your exponents. So 1 plus 2 plus 4 gives us 7, so we'll have x to the 7th. If you don't see an exponent, it's a 1. Anything to 0 power is 1. Just have to memorize that one. Number 4, we're looking for the ones with the same base. We have n's exponents of 5 and 2, so multiply with the same base, add exponents. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then for the r's, we have 3 and 4. That also adds up to 7. So we have n's to the 7th, r to the 7th. Number 5, multiply your coefficients. 1 times 2 gives us 2. And then when you multiply with the same base, add your exponents. 3 plus 5 gives us 8. When you see a power to a power, you're going to multiply exponents. So this will be 5 times 4, 20th, x to the 20th power. Number 7, multiply your coefficients. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Now when you're multiplying with the same base, add your exponents. So 2 plus 1 gives us 3. And 3 plus 4 gives us 7. Number 8, we'll multiply. 4 times 3 gives us 12. Multiply with the same base, add exponents. 2 plus 5 gives us 7. 1 plus 8 gives us 9 for the y's. Number 9, negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Now we're looking for ones with the same base. H times h squared is h cubed. 1 plus 2 is 3. I cubed times I to the first power. When you multiply the same base, add exponents, so that's I to the 4th. And then j, you've got 2 and 4, so add those exponents, you get 6. So negative 15 h cubed, I to the 4th, j to the 6th power. Number 10. We've got a product to a power, so we're going to raise each factor to the power. So negative 3 has to be squared. X to the 4th has to be squared. Y has to be squared. And then for the second polynomial, 2 has to be cubed. X to the 5th has to be cubed. And y squared has to be cubed. Negative 3 in parentheses squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Power to a power, you multiply exponents. 4 times 2 is 8. And then for the second one, 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Power to a power, you multiply exponents. 5 times 3 is 15. Power to a power, you multiply exponents. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we'll multiply these monomials together. 9 times 8 gives us 72. Multiply with the same base, add your exponents. 8 plus 15 gives us 23. And 2 plus 6 gives us 8. Number 11, you've got a product to a power, so raise each factor to the power. So negative 5 has to be cubed, x to the fourth is cubed, and y squared has to be cubed. Negative 5 in parentheses cubed, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, times negative 5 is negative 125. Power to a power, you multiply exponents. 4 times 3 gives us 12. Power to a power, multiply exponents. 2 times 3 gives us 6. Number 12, we've got a product to a power, so 2 has to be squared, c has to be squared, d has to be squared, and then negative 4 has to be squared, c cubed has to be squared. 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4. Second polynomial, negative 4 times negative 4 in parentheses squared is 16. Power to a power, multiply exponents. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 16 gives us 64. Multiply with the same base, add exponents. 2 plus 6 gives us 8. And we still have the d squared. When you divide with the same base, you subtract exponents. 6 minus 2 gives us 4. So m to the fourth is on top. And then for the ends, 6 minus 3 gives us 3. N cubed will be on the bottom. So you want to look for the bigger one. Do the bigger one minus the smaller one, you'll get a positive. And put that variable in that exponent where there were more to begin with, where the bigger one was. 14. Dividing with the same base, subtract exponents. We get y to the fifth over 1, or just y to the fifth. Don't have to write it as an exponent if everything divides out of the bottom. 15. Dividing with the same base, subtract exponents. 6 minus 4 gives us 2, so r squared's on top. And then 2 minus a negative 7 is 2 plus 7, that's 9, so n to the ninth will go on the bottom because 2 is bigger than negative 7. So we have r squared over n to the ninth. 16, 20 divided by 4 gives us 5. Divide with the same base, subtract exponents. 1 minus a negative 3 gives us 4. M to the fourth is on the bottom. For the ends, 6 minus a negative 2 is 8. So I'll have n to the eighth on top. Now for the p's, we don't see any other p's. If you have a negative exponent in a fraction, you can move it and it changes the sign on the exponent. If it's on the bottom, move it to the top. And that changes the sign. If it were on the top, you'd move it to the bottom, and that would change the sign. 17, we've got a product to a power, so we'll raise each factor to the power. So 2 has to be cubed, m to the fifth has to be cubed, and then n has to be cubed. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Power to a power, multiply exponents. 5 times 3 is 15. 8 over 40, that simplifies to 1/5. So we have a 5 on the bottom. M to the 15th, there's no other m, so we'll just leave that on top. For the ends, 5 is bigger than 3, so do 5 minus 3, you get 2. So n squared is on the bottom. First thing I notice is that we have an a on top and on bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify that fraction. Divide with the same base, subtract exponents. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Now when you have a negative exponent, fraction to a negative power, we can rewrite as the reciprocal to the positive power. So we can write this as a over 3 squared. Power for a fraction to a power, you can raise the numerator to that power and the denominator to the power. So a will be squared and 3 will be squared. 3 squared is 9, so we have a squared over 9. 3 squared, 3 times 3. Area of a rectangle, length times width. In this case, the length is 25x cubed. So we'll replace L with 25x cubed. And then the width is 5x squared, so we'll replace W with 5x squared. Multiply 25 times 5 is 125. Multiply with the same base, add exponents 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's 125x to the 5th, and that's square units. Or you can write units squared. Hope you've enjoyed this video. You can check out more on my website, swayze.weebly.com.